Happy to welcome all who gathered here. It is a wonderful opportunity for us to be part of this gLOCAL evaluation week, and we are grateful to the gLOCAL team for this opportunity. Today, we are going to present Magic Bus livelihood journey. I hope I'm loud enough, right?
Yes.
Today, we are going to present on Magic Bus livelihood journey that address the skill gaps of youth in India and how we helping the youth from economically marginalized community to enter into sustainable jobs and breaking the barriers of professional growth in customer-centric job roles and service sector. Our experience is telling us that the young people becoming the change agents to their peers by bringing their friends to this skilling program and bringing almost equal amount of annual income to their families. So they're helping to address the distress situation of the families. Today, subject is life and employability skills impacting the life of young people. That is our subject today we are going to talk. As you know, we are one of the largest implementing agency in the skilling ecosystem. We are more on alternative skilling ecosystem rather than a traditional vocational skilling. The service sector contributing nearly 40% of GDP to India, and it is the second largest sector generating employment. While we look into this sector, the job roles in this sector is little different from the vocational job roles. Here, we need to concentrate more on the employability skilling, which is the need of 21st century. That is the demand from the service sector. Last 10 years, we are pioneering in it, and currently we reached to the level that in a year, we are able to skill and place more than 1 lakh young people. The journey is not that much easy. For this, many stakeholders helping us, youth, our alumni especially, funding partners, knowledge partners, employers, and so on. Robust content and curriculum, dedicated staff, process and policies, and dedicated system of monitoring and evaluation are the backbone for this entire journey. We are going to tell you this journey one by one. And this masterclass has 3 parts. One is we will talk about the Magic Bus program. Second, we will talk about the process which we adopted for the M&E journey of Magic Bus livelihood program. And we will be the last part, we will talk about the results and impact. Towards the end, of course, we will be getting some time for question and answers. With me today to take this story to you, 2 people who are playing important role in Magic Bus livelihood journey. Joining with me, Leena Rao and Sonal Jain. Leena coming with more than 20 years of experience in content and curriculum development and program design and planning. And Sonal is coming with more than 50 years of experience in program management and implementation, including design and development. With your permission, let me start our masterclass. Since I am moderating, I may ask some leading questions to both Leena and Sonal, so they can respond to it. It will help you to understand also the way we designed today's masterclass. Let me ask to Sonal. Sonal, what has been the journey of Magic Bus? What are the program design or livelihood, especially program design for livelihood, and what does the youth life cycle look like? Can you just elaborate it so people who are listening us will understand that?
Sure. Thank you so much, Philip, and thank you for the great introduction. And I welcome all of you on behalf of Magic Bus and the livelihood team. If you generally ask me, Magic Bus's work and the ethos primarily revolves around working with young people from marginalized community, taking them through an entire journey from livelihood, which we've seen are full of challenges, struggles, disappointment, to a meaningful life, and then trying and supporting them with livelihood opportunities. The primary objective is to ultimately bring them out of poverty so that they can make significant impact in their own lives and also bring income back to their families, which is something that you started your narration with. In this entire journey, we work with very, very critical stakeholders, which are, of course, the young people, but also their parents, the communities, the local institutions, because we know each one of them have a very significant impact on the lives of the young people, plus the decisions that they make in life going forward. The journey and the marvelous magical journey began in the year 1999 when our founder Matthew Spacey, who was then the CEO of Cox and King Mumbai, was playing rugby at the Bombay Gymkhana, and then he noticed a group of boys watching the game with a lot of interest, and then he invited them to play with him and his team, and that is where the entire journey of Magic Bus began, from equipping young people to learn through sports activities, imbibing in them concepts and frameworks of resilience, decision making, working in a team, to where we are currently. And the journey actually began from there. As of now, as I speak to all of you, we are one of the largest NGOs in the life and employability skills space, and we are making significant stride as an organization, not only in terms of bringing in innovative programs, but also taking on scale with a lot of impact, ensuring that the quality that we've strided out for ourselves as an organization and as an individual continues to be there. And this is typically both in the adolescent as well as the livelihood vertical that we are in. Specifically speaking of livelihood, we have impacted more than 1 lakh young people who have been placed and skilled in jobs successfully. So, if you ask me, what does our journey really look like? We started working in the livelihood space beginning 2015, and we started with a center-based model, which was a very, very small local centers in and around the community where the young people would come in, and the footfall would largely be, say, about a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers. The program was to skill and train young people in jobs, and was typically an undergraduate program. We were then at that point in time, because we were also venturing out in an entirely new space, was very, very blessed to have some very key strategic partners who helped us develop the entire model, helped us to better understand the whole programming, and then showed us a path. And not only showed us a path, but they also believed in our ability to be able to reach the height and scale at where we are in. In 2017, again, we made a very significant stride and received the ISO certification in the training award. And this was the time where we also started creating and developing our own internal M&E systems and processes for managing programs, managing data, etc. 2020, as all of you know, was really when COVID hit us, and we were one of the first organizations, and this has been called out by some very, very significant other counterpart NGOs, also consulting organizations in the ecosystem, wherein they said that Magic Bus is one of the first organizations who immediately responded to COVID. We still wanted our young people to get trained. We still wanted them to be placed in sustainable jobs, because livelihood at that point in time became more significant and important for both the young people and their families. And we were one of the first organizations who went all virtual, and we continued our programming and ensuring that the skills that the young people would have received in a non-COVID kind of an environment, the similar skill sets with quality, the young people receive while they are attending our virtual classes. During this time also, we realized that a lot of colleges were coming to us and telling us that they have a placement agency, but most of the placement agencies were either defunct or they did not have that kind of employer connect. And that is where we took on another leap as an organization and started a new college-based program for the young people who are typically graduates from tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. And then we launched a college program with them. We also now have a lot of about 17 centers with us, which run the all women program. which is again one of its kind in India. Once we really gained a significant momentum, we understand how the skilling ecosystem operated, and we started really small, in this entire space. Once that momentum was gained and our initial program started stabilizing, we understood how does virtual sessions work, what are some of the key significant learnings of it. It was the year of 2021 to 2024 where we reached significant scale, and not just scale, but significant innovation, risk-taking ability for us to say that, from a pool of, say, some few thousand organizations, we were one of the first organizations in the skilling and impact space to receive the skill impact bond, which is again a very different kind of a programming, because it is based on outcome-based finance. It is a blended finance model for delivering program. We have currently also piloted in a scale program, which is enabled by technology. We are trying as an organization and as a team to build in a state-of-art technology platform, which covers the entire life cycle of the young person. And in the process, we've partnered again with some very strategic funding partners and knowledge partners who are significantly helping us in the entire process. During this period, we again opened avenues because we understood as an organization that there is a large scope to venture into the white-collared space. And that is where we now are into white-collared job posts as well, wherein we've initiated programs like Tally, AWS, etc. for young graduates. Can we move next? This is the entire livelihood portfolio of what it typically looks like. We have two typical programs, which is the center-based program and a college-based program. The center-based programs are for the young people, wherein the young people within a radius of 5 to 20 kilometers come to the center. The sessions are facilitated by the trainers who are trained to deliver the 21st century life and employability skills to the young people. The course runs for a significant amount of time, which is 2 months period, and the salary ranges that the young people are, when they are ultimately placed in jobs, ranges between 12,000 to 16,500 per month. Very contrasting to that, and this, like I mentioned, was something that really evolved for us during the period of COVID, wherein the college faculties and the principals came to us to say that we have now cohorts and cohorts after of graduates passing out from the college programs. Our placement systems are not very robust. What is it that Magic Bus can do? And then we designed a program which was more geared towards training the graduates into life and employability skills. This is a week-long program wherein we are preparing them to be job ready, and then ensuring that they have the necessary skill sets to be able to not only get gainfully employed, but also retain in jobs for a very long period of time. Between the center-based program and the college-based program, the placement target that we look at is 70% and 95%. And similarly, again, then we again launched the white-collared job program, which was specifically catering to science and engineering graduates, wherein we are currently running our AWS and the Tally program. So there is a lot of scope in the white-collared space as well. And as an organization, Philip, what's really significant and what really intrigues me is to say that we've not only stuck to delivering one kind of programming, we've evolved as an organization to say and really understand what the market needs, what the market trends are, what is it that the young people want, what is it that the employers want. And we've curated our programs to best suit both the supply and the demand side. Yeah, if you ask me the journey of the young people, One of the things that we typically do in our undergraduate program for young people, which is a 2-month-long program, imparting life and employability skills to them, to typically make them career ready. And as we speak to more and more young people, as we speak to more and more employers, we know that the skill sets are aligned to the sectors and the job roles that they are going to be placed in. We typically mobilize young people from in and around the community and then place them in hyperlocal jobs, because we also understand that there could be a potential risk of placing young people, say, 25 or 30 kilometers away from their household, and then the entire community or the parents would be kind of begin and start playing a critical role. That is why what our approach has always been to have a center which is closely in the community, plus have and work with hyperlocal employers, so that the young people are still closer to home and they can earn a significant income in their lives. The young people, like I mentioned, come to the center to receive the training delivered by our extremely competent and passionate Magic Bus trainers. We prepare them to get into jobs. And not only that, we believe that the employers also play a very, very critical role in nurturing these young people. So it's not just that our trainers are delivering the sessions to the young people, but our employers also play a very, very significant part. And what we've now done and understood how the employers can support is that in the 2 months journey, we've created critical touch points for the employers, wherein they will not only just look at Magic Bus as an organization where we are placing young people, but they are also looking at Magic Bus as an organization which trains and nurtures young people for lifelong learning. And then they also play a very significant role, in the whole nurturing and development. So they would, in the week 1, they would come to the center, talk to the young people, tell them about the company, tell them about the values, tell them about the job role, so that the young people know and they are prepared to get into workforce. And please also remember that the young people that Magic Bus works with are not just first-time job seekers. They are also young people who are first-time formal sector employment young people. Most of the family members of these young people are either working as daily wage laborers or working in the informal space. So they don't really know what does a formal employment opportunity look like. They have never in their life had an interface or a session with a potential employer who could be their hiring manager. So those are some of the, if I may really put it, those are some of the significant systemic changes that we as an organization have really been able to bring about in the skilling and livelihood space. During the journey, once the young people gain the relevant skill sets, they are placed in formal sector employment. Many of them, like I said, are first-time job seekers. They do get very, very overwhelmed with the workplace. So what do? We as an organization and as the livelihood team, we don't leave the young people to say that now you've completed your 2 months journey. Now you're on your own, you figure out how you want to work, etc. We support them for the next 3 months. We do continuous follow-ups with them, week on week and month on month, to ensure that they are settled in jobs, and not just settled, they are retained better in jobs. They are well adjusted in their workplace. And a similar messaging is something that we also give out to the employers, to say that if you experience any significant issues with our young people, do let us know, so that we can then work as a team together to ensure that the young person continues to be in sustainable jobs and not just leave employment for something very insignificant that may not happen in their lives while they are in employment. Uh, at the at the at the center of all of this, and we will talk about more on women labor force participation, how are we supporting young women, but a significant step we have taken to ensure that a special focus is laid on women workforce participation in the labor market. And when we say labor force participation, we don't just stop at enrollment. We ensure that they are similar to their male counterparts, are also placed in jobs, and they are significantly retained in jobs for a longer period of time, so that they can bring in that income to the family, they can improve their own lives, continue their higher education, support their young their siblings education, etc. So our young women participation currently is at 61%, and the placement and the retention percentages, which we are going to talk to all of you about in the latter slides, are also very, very similar to how our young men would be placed in jobs, would be in. We can
Thank you, Sonal. Let me ask Lena, especially some of the things which she is familiar with in the livelihood journey of Magic Bus. Lena, how do we empower young people? And what do you think are some of the skill sets they need to have support them enter to world of work? And can you also tell us about our efforts in designing and developing this curriculum and its relevance to the workplace? Over to Lena.
Thank you, Philip. Definitely an important question. But before that, thank you everyone who has joined this call, and excited to be here and sharing our experience with each one of you. So maybe we can move to the next slide, please. So it's not been a simple journey as always. We have been trying out a few, testing it out, and then going all out, piloting it, going back and making changes. So what is it that really we do at Magic Bus training program? So when a young person enrolls or embarks on a journey at Magic Bus, it is very engaging and interesting. We have designed our activities in a manner that they are participatory, giving each individual to contribute equally, and they're excited to be at the center each day. What are the skills that we look at? So first of all, we try and empower them to understand themselves better, their self-awareness, which increases in them the self-confidence in them. They believe themselves more. They know that they have the ability to succeed in the workplace and to actually enter into a space that they have never seen before. Neither have their parents, or they are the first generation, as Sonal mentioned earlier, to enter a formal labor force. So after getting them to know themselves better, we introduce them to a conversational English so that they can improve their communication skills, and they're able to communicate much easily with their peers and with other stakeholders. We also introduce them to dealing with small stresses in life. So stress, though all of us consider it as a big terminology, but there are certain small stresses, which is like, oh, I'm going to join a new place from tomorrow. Oh, I have to travel a long distance. Oh, I have to take a public transport. So these are all little stresses which actually we help the young people to overcome those as not stresses, but as to plan how they're going to address these little things that come in life for them. We also ensure that the center is a safe learning space for them. So we have various policies in place which we ensure and we adhere to. Apart from this, we also orient them towards the industry or the sectors that they are going to be placed in, because we largely place our young people in the BFSI, that is a banking, financial and insurance, the retail, the IT enabled services, the quick service restaurant and logistics. So these are the 4 to 5 sectors that we focus on where we place our young people. So we give them an orientation about what is it that is all about there in the sector for them. What is the career progression afterwards for them? How is the sector going to look out? What are the probable job roles, or what is it that is required to thrive in that sector? And finally, how would they find themselves a job in that particular sector so that they can continue to be in that sector till the time that they feel that they need to move on. The most important skill that is required these days is to manage personal finance. So yes, once we start earning, it is important for us to know the importance of saving and then wisely investing, so that we are what I can say, we ensure that in future we are not we manage our finances better. So that is something important that we also cover. And of course, the skills to get a job, preparing them for an interview, writing a resume. What are the questions that would probably come during an interview? How would they answer? How is it that they're going to dress up for an interview? And so on. And yes, the last but not the least, the basic digital skills wherein they learn to use a computer, they learn the various applications in the computer, they're introduced to email, they use social media, but then we also introduce them to professional networking sites like LinkedIn so that they can have better opportunities that they can look out for. Though they use the mobiles for their social media like their Instagram, but then we introduce them to the importance of how they can actually leverage those skills to look out for better opportunities for themselves, or probably do a self-learning portion or look out for a video that will help them enhance their skill sets. So yes, I can go on and on. And in subsequent slides also, we can probably look at the few of the skills or the competencies that we address in our curriculum. Once they are completed the journey for 2 months and they are placed, the sectors that we place them are, as I say, as you can see, is retail, the BFSI, ITES, IT, e-commerce, and QSR. The role that they are placed in is an entry-level job role, which is facing the customer. So that is, they are answering the customer directly or indirectly. So it is largely giving service to the customer in the form of a customer sales associate or a field sales executive or a telecaller, or it could be even a shift supervisor or a bank office executive. So it covers all the roles at an entry level, which is either dealing with customer queries at the front end or at the back end. So these are the kind of roles that we place the young people in. We do not leave them after they are placed. We are there with them. We guide them post-placement. We try to motivate them. If they come back to us with certain challenges, we try to address them. Our trainers are very, very active in this. They are connected with the trainers. They're connected with the center that they have graduated from. We also help them to identify what would help them to grow further in their career, and that is continuous learning, and how would they be able to progress in a career there. So these are the largely three important, we empower them across skills, we give them with an opportunity, and also we guide them post-placement. We can move to the next slide. Yes, this has not been, though we saw a few skills in the previous slide, how is it that we have arrived at that sweet spot of saying, okay, we are going to do A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4 skills. It was a very interesting work that we took upon ourselves to design the framework for the livelihood, wherein we researched across 26 national and international frameworks. We first identified them, which addresses a similar mission. We then mapped our curriculum against these, and then we found that it was closely mapping to around 16 frameworks from the 26. And finally, when we further zeroed down, we found that it aligns with the ILO and the NOS, that is the National Occupational Standards that has been released by the sector. So the circle that you see on the right side is the framework. If we have to move from inward out, what we are doing with our training program is we are building youth agency and we are empowering them. So we're building we are making them self-confident. We are saying that they are capable, or they have the ability to take their own decisions and stand for the decisions that they take. They are responsible for their own decision. The outcomes that we achieve by doing this is we ensure that they are in a sustainable job, because of which their income is stable, and then thus we see that they break out of the vicious cycle of poverty. How is this all addressed is through, we have identified certain core skills, the circle outside the breaking poverty that is there is about our sub skills, which are self-awareness, communication, interpersonal, and collaboration, which falls within the social and emotional skills. So social and emotional skills, as most of us know on the call here, who are practitioners in the social sector and know about the life skills or the transferable 21st century skills, know that the social and emotional is a very large bracket or a very large umbrella or a domain. So we have identified what are the components that will be addressed within this. Similarly, we also have identified skills within the cognitive and metacognitive and within the work readiness. So to quickly read through the cognitive and metacognitive is how one can be creative, how one has to adapt to certain environment. What is the thinking? What are the thinking skills? How is it that I think about a certain problem? How is it I make a certain decision? What are the different factors that I consider to make a decision? And an introduction into personal finance within the financial literacy skill. To top it all, we have, as I mentioned earlier, about skills to be able to look out for a job. So that is, we help them to understand what is their strengths, what are their skill sets, how do they groom for an interview, how they prepare a CV. We also introduce them to workplace ethics and certain rights and responsibilities that they need to be aware of when they join a workplace. A basic digital literacy skill and also a conversational English, so that they will be able to communicate very, not fluently, but they're confident communicating in English and responding to whenever they're asked for. All this is supported, or the key driving principles for us is through active citizenship, gender inclusiveness, skills for life and work, and the youth centricity. So everything that we do, we see to it that these are our key guiding principles. The youth being the center of whatever we do, we equip them for the skills for life and work. We are sensitive, and as we saw earlier, 61% of young women are enrolled in our program and placed. Active citizenship about how they become active in their community and how they take this further. So our alumni are our biggest strength. So they refer other young people and they come back. They even refer us to our employers. So this is how we have gone and designed a framework. The next slide gives a quick insight into the competencies that we have identified within each of the core skills or the sub skills that we had. So even within self-awareness, what is it that is important for a young person to get into a job? So it is very important for me as a young person to understand my emotions. So if somebody screams at me, shouts at me, I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to think back and see why they are upset with me. If I am wrong, then I need to go back and correct myself. How is it that I will address it? Aware of my own strength and limitations, not to lose my self-esteem, have a high self-esteem, be very confident. How can I manage myself to deal with a lot of things that will happen in my life after I have graduated from the program? How will I deal with criticism that I may come across from my peers? And how is it that I will set myself a goal? So this is what we have tried to cover in self-awareness, which helps in building their own agency, and they're able to stand for themselves when they're out there in the youth space that they are going to enter into, the employer space, the employment space. Similarly, for communication, it is very important that we know that it's important to listen carefully, listen actively, be assertive where required, negotiate for yourselves, be it your task, be it anything. Each one of us has to be strong in our verbal, balance between our verbal and non-verbal skills. Each one of us has to be open to giving and receiving feedback when we are at a workplace. I won't go across through each of the core skills, but what we have done is we have identified, as I mentioned, each competency within a sub-skill, which will help young people when they are at a workplace. Yes, I will pause here for a second so that we can read through it. It is so that you all can read through the competencies that have been identified. Yes, we have also introduced, everyone is talking about climate change, everyone is talking about green economy, green jobs, and so on. So we have tried and introduced a component where we speak about how important it is to be able to identify or to be able to be sensitive to what green skills is all about, or how is it that we actually manage our resources and which will help us in the near future. So that is something that we have done. Okay, I think maybe we can move to the next slide. Yes, as I mentioned, we have been able to come up with a framework that also includes a lot of competencies. I also did mention that we have participatory activities. We have activities which could be a role play, or it could be a game-based approach, or it could be a video-based, or it could be an audio-based. How is it that we are capturing? We have also introduced a self-learning. So our training program is a blend of center, that is a face-to-face or an offline session, an online or a virtual session, and a self-learning component. So the self-learning sessions have been uploaded on our learning management system, wherein each young person is able to access the reading material or whatever task that they have been assigned to. We have introduced it in a very small way, but we feel it is important as these young people, and that's the future, where if we are not reading, or if we are not reading, and if we are not skilling ourselves or upskilling ourselves, we will not be able to grow. And that is very important. It's a very important skill for each one of us, not just the young people, but for each one of us. So that's wherein this learning management system helps us to upload these sessions, keep a track of whether these young people have really done the sessions, though we don't really follow it up with them, but we do ensure that they have at least read it, completed it, and they come back to the trainers if they have any doubts or they need any clarity. Yes. Yes, we can go to the next slide. So this is a video of one of our young person who has completed a training program, and this is her feedback or her opinion or her view about what she has gained from the Magic Bus program. Yes, you can start.
हेलो, मेरा नाम गुलफ्शा है, दिल्ली में रहती हूँ। ट्वेल्थ कंप्लीट करने के बाद मैंने अपना डिप्लोमा किया है आर्किटेक्चरल असिस्टेंटशिप में, लेकिन फिर मैंने 2-3 महीने तक मैंने खुद भी नहीं ट्राई किया, क्योंकि घर वाले एग्री नहीं थे। लेकिन घर में बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी, बहुत ज़्यादा क्राइसिस आ रहे थे, तो फिर मैंने सोचा कि मैं खुद से ट्राई करती हूँ जॉब सर्च करने की। लेकिन फिर मुझे बहुत प्रॉब्लम आई, कहीं पे इंटरव्यू क्लियर नहीं हुआ, कहीं पे मेरा रिज्यूमे शॉर्टलिस्टेड नहीं हुआ। फिर मुझे अपने फ्रेंड के थ्रू पता चला मैजिक बस इंडिया फाउंडेशन प्रिंसेस इंटरनेशनल का जो गेट इनटू प्रोग्राम है उसके बारे में। इसमें मैंने लाइफ स्किल्स सीखी थी। लाइफ स्किल्स में जैसे कि गोल सेटिंग, सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, डिसीजन मेकिंग, असर्टिवनेस। जब मेरी फर्स्ट सैलरी आई थी, मैंने वो अपनी पूरी सैलरी मम्मी के हाथ में दी थी, और मम्मी के हाथ में भी इसलिए दी थी कि उन्हें लगे कि हाँ ठीक है, लड़की ने कुछ किया है। तो मैंने भी यही सोचा कि मैं थोड़ा सा स्टेबल हो जाऊं, सब कुछ सीख लूंगी, तो मैं भी ऐसे ही फॉरेन के प्रोजेक्ट उठा के शो अप करूंगी। जब वो खुद इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाएंगे तो उनकी फैमिली भी उनके लिए एग्री हो जाएगी और प्राउड फील करेगी।
Okay, she is the winner of the Princess Trust International Global Award. Now, of course, it's King's Trust International. I think a year ago she was awarded, and she has got the opportunity to travel to England to witness the coronation of the King last year. So that has been a great opportunity for Gulafsha. Yes, over to you, Philip.
Thank you, Lina. Let us go to the second part of our masterclass. We are going to cover generally on the process which we follow. Let me bring Sonal's view on it. Sonal, programs at scale are only successful when an organization has stringently designed systems and process, which includes our robust M&A framework, tools and systems in place. This efficacy is crucial and critical to measure the health of the program, do timely course correction, and bring in quality. Sonal, can you just describe the systems and process we use it for monitoring and evaluation, and how do we use it for further design and development? Sonal.
Thank you, Philip. I think very rightly put. One of the things that we've also seen in the development sector across NGOs, and I have personally witnessed a lot of NGOs trying to scale significantly overnight, scale significantly, say in the next 1 month and 2 months. but they then do, where they falter and where they break is a space where they do not have robust monitoring mechanisms. They do not put processes and systems in place. And it could be both. It could be both in terms of the human resources that they don't have, or the kind of investment that they don't want to make. I think as Magic Bus and as an organization, we are blessed in both ways. We have some of the best people in our monitoring and evaluation team, both in terms of human resources and also the capacity that we have as a not-for-profit to explore newer ventures in the technology space, to bring in those learnings from tech and then understand and see what is it that technology can help us and support us and enable us to make a significant impact. And when we say impact, impact is not just in terms of numbers, but also impact in terms of ensuring that the youths complete their life cycle, that the youth have a significant job, that we trace and we place them in those jobs, we ensure that they are retained in those jobs. One of the things that we've internally done, Philip, is that, and you've been a very, very significant part of it, is that we've designed our own data collection tools and methods. We have been able to standardize and automate a lot of these systems and processes because, again, we realize that in an M&E space, or in a space where you are significantly giving out numbers to the ecosystem, you are significantly sharing your numbers, sharing the youth data, sharing the youth achievement to some of our potential funders, some of our funding partners. There has to be a systemic approach to be dealing with all of this. We have an internal system of data collection, wherein we are collecting our data currently on the Sixer Class platform. So each center has a Sixer Class ID wherein they put in the data of the young person on the significant critical milestones for the young person, starting from enrollment up until placement. What we also do is that as a team, we also regularly and continuously do hand-holding, learning and support visits, wherein we significantly speak to all the critical stakeholders, which are our young people, which are the parents, which are the community members, to not just gain insight on how the program is running, to not just hear the good things, but also to really meet some of our alumni to say, now that you are placed in a job, what is it that Magic Bus was not able to deliver to you for, in the training program for 2 months? And what is it that you would now want us to support the other young people who are continuously learning from our program to imbibe with? Having said that, I think we were one of the first few organizations, and this was way back in 2021, 2022, wherein we had surveyed more than 3,000 young people, asking them for feedback about the program. So there were some really significant things that they told us about. They also told us about some not so significant things. And based on their feedback, a lot of changes in the designing, in the development, in how we deliver sessions to the young people, in how we create assessments and other learning frameworks for the young people have undergone a significant change. Similarly, we were one of the first few organizations to have, and that again, we ran at a very, very small scale pilot. We were one of the first organizations in 21, 22, also in the year up until 2023 to do a very detailed employer survey, which was typically divided into 2 parts to say that why would an employer hire from the Magic Bus skilling program? What is it that our young people are bringing to their companies or to their organizations? Will they refer more young people, or will they refer more employers to join the Magic Bus vision and mission? And we had also asked them very critical questions. And, not many organizations, I really feel, are open to be asking such questions to a very significant stakeholder, which is the employers, to really ask them, what is it that, from the entire amazing list that Lena had shown, what are some of the skill sets that you think are still very, very relevant for the job role, and which we are not being able to impart as an organization to the young people? And they told us a significant amount of skill sets which were very nuanced for the job roles that, the young people would be placed in. For example, there were a lot of employers from the quick service restaurant space, for example, wherein the young people are front facing the customers, as cashiers, or as someone who's doing billing or working at the back end. And they said that, the program is great, but can you train the young people to be more customer centric? Can you train young people to be a little bit more friendly, understand what the customer's needs are? And, in the last 1.5 years, we've actually gone ahead, taken that feedback, and created an entire sector orientation content for the young people in the major sectors that we are placing them in, which is IT, ITES, BFSI, quick service, and logistics. And a lot of inputs from the employers post the whole process is something that we've taken. So I think what I really want to say and conclude is that data is good. It's good for external reporting. It's good to feel good about your program. But are we really looking at each of these young people as significant individuals who consider themselves, and we should also be considering themselves as equally responsible to then go back and give feedback to the program and tell us genuinely what is working and what is not working. As an organization, we love playing around with data, deriving significant solutions from it, deriving and understanding how is it that we can better the program. We've done an entire analysis to really see what is it that the average salaries for young people are playing out to be. Is it something that is critical enough through which they can improve their income, or is it something that any young person would get even without not having been trained by Magic Bus? We have a very robust reporting mechanism. We've also recently curated and designed an entire donor management portal wherein most of our funding partners would have real-time access to all the reports, all the data. They would have real-time access to the expenses, that Magic Bus is making. To that point, I think I would also want to talk about one of the other scale program that we are now looking at, wherein we are creating an entire life cycle for the young person in a state-of-the-art technology platform that we are trying to build. So starting from how does a youth get mobilized to how does learning happen on the LMS, wherein there is a lot of self-learning material that we've put for the young person. We've put content for the trainers who are responsible for training the young person. We have enabled sending out notifications to the young person to tell them that, you've completed the training program. This is where your job, this is where we are now going to line your interviews in. Are you okay to go and give an interview on so-and-so date and so-and-so time? To now, we are really looking and enabling, our processes and strengthening the whole structure to say, how do we then reconnect back to the millions of alumni, young people who are now our potential employers because they are now working in some of the really, really big companies. And how do we reconnect back with them and enable technology through the whole piece? We do a lot of data analysis, and if we can go to the next slide, we would just want to give all of you like a quick snapshot of what is it that our M&A team is involved in. So they look at data in real time. The numbers keep flashing on each of their dashboards. There are centers who are, who've lined up in the entire process. So the team is really able to gauge and manage the batches that they are supposed to be launching. How are the young people learning? How many of them are significantly placed in jobs? To an extent that we also go on Sixer class to upload the placement and post-placement data, because we know that it is critical to have such data points. And as I talk to you, I think we are constantly in an improvement process. We take a lot of feedback from our center team members to understand from them what is it that is working, what are some of the things that are not working on the Sixer class platform or the new platform that we are now venturing out to create. And the next slide would really give you a very quick snapshot of what does a dynamic dashboard for us look like year on year. And the teams typically are able to then navigate through each of the mediums, click on their respective program, as you can see, which is standard skilling, digital skilling, or connect with work program. Click on the regions that they are in, whether it is east, north, south, or west, and then really play around with this to understand the overall health of their center, their batches, and also significantly see what is it that the other teams are doing well in, which they can pick up or learn from. Yeah. We can go to the next slide. Lena.
Yes. So what we just saw, what Sonal just explained to us, was about the data getting captured on our data management system, and then the dashboarding happening because of the data that has been captured. But it is also important for us to give a balanced weightage or a balanced importance to the quality and efficacy of the program. So it's not just about numbers, or it's just not about the outcomes that we achieve in numbers, like what is the number of enrollments that we have achieved, or how many young women have we enrolled, how many of them have we placed, what was the attendance, what has been the retention, how many batches have we launched, what has been the percentage placement, what has been the youth dropout. So all these are data points that are there on the Sixer class or on our data management system, which are captured month on month, day on day, when the proofs are uploaded on the system. But at the same time, it is very important for us to also look at the quality parameters, which is seen on the right side of the screen, wherein we have identified parameters like operations within finance, operations, HR, the governance and ethics that is required, the quality of a session, what has been the feedback of different stakeholders, how is my center looking. So if you look at operations finance, we have also defined further parameters to it and given a weightage to it, as in what is the score that the center will get if they have been able to manage their finance properly, the budgets properly, and there is no underspend or an overspend there. What has been the staff retention like? Has all the staff been onboarded? Has there been any attrition? What has been the overall quarter attrition? Has my center staff been trained, or has all the 100% of my staff been trained? The governance and ethics, it is all. After we have done all this, it's very important for us to be very, what I can say, practical, and say that we communicate the right thing, and we do not have any malpractices, to discourage any malpractices at the center, and be ethical as possible. We have also identified certain parameters within that. Each of them, as I said, has been given in weightage so that it becomes very simple to calculate, and we have also covered all of the parameters there. A large time, that is in the entire journey, if you see entire 2 months, the young people are undergoing a training program. So it is very important for us to capture the quality of the sessions being delivered by our trainers at a center with respect to the knowledge, the skills, and the attitude. As Sonal also mentioned earlier, that we always take feedback from our stakeholders. We try to bring in different changes to our program. We take in their feedback, we do that. And it is very important for us to get feedback from our stakeholders to keep improving our program so that it increases the quality and the efficacy of the entire process. Finally, the center branding. Is my center safe? Are my staff, is the staff presenting themselves in a professional way? Have they adhered to the infrastructure requirement that has been jotted down in the policy or the standard operating procedure? How is the hygiene and safety at the center, and have they followed the branding at the center? Finally, all these scores combined together, if you look at the bottom of the screen, the final weightage is the 70% is assigned to the program performance and 30% is assigned to the quality and efficacy parameters. Finally, it gives us the final score wherein we categorize our centers into platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, depending on the score that they achieve. So the data that we have on a 6 class plus the quality gives us a balanced report of each of our centers, and it encourages and motivates each center to have a healthy competition amongst themselves. Yes, you can move to the next. Having said that, I think we are one of the first organizations to have an entire department who follows the good governance practices and processes. So the scope of this department is to monitor our centers remotely. All our centers have been equipped with biometric, which captures the attendance. They have CCTV cameras, where we can remotely see what is happening at a center currently, how many students are there, is the center functioning as it is required to be functioning. The team also verifies the documents that has been uploaded on the 6 class. They call the young people to check, to verify the details that has been uploaded. They also verify and call employers, authenticate the employers. The team also is responsible for doing physical monitoring. They give surprise visits to the center, and they also share regular dashboarding, trying to bring out certain practices which may not be as we have designed it to be. Also, they encourage the centers to do their processes better or be better in whatever they are doing. So what they follow generally is they check the data source, they verify, they create dashboards, they take action on whatever the results are, and then they go back to re-verify whatever has been uploaded back again or whatever data has been provided back again. So here is a small clip of the entire department that works, the entire division, which helps us prevent fraud, and it helps us early detection and prevention of fraud that possibly can happen at such a large scale.
This is the MagicBus Fraud Prevention and Detection Team. They operate like any internal audit team. The scope of their work involves remote monitoring of all the livelihood centers across the country. They monitor the attendance of youth at these centers. They also monitor the attendance of youth in the virtual sessions. The FPD team is responsible for verifying the data of every youth who is placed in jobs. This team ensures the authenticity of this data and highlights any gaps or any deviations in this data. As a part of the verification call, the team calls every youth after they are placed in jobs to understand the current status of their job and also to offer any support if required. This team comprises of 23 members with one team leader. The team is spread across in 6 different locations. The presence in 6 geographic locations only helps the team to also conduct physical verification of the centers. This team is responsible for generating dashboards, which helps the livelihood team to take corrective actions and informed decision.
Yeah, thank you, Leena and Sonal. And we have covered the 2 important parts of our presentation today, that is the program and processes. And we are going to enter to a very important session, that is the crux of this week presentation. That is because it's a gLOCAL evaluation week, we would like to present our results and impact. So far, we did it based on the programs and process which we explained. Let me ask Sonal. Sonal, can you tell us what impact looks like for Magic Bus and what has the year 23-24 been like. Can you just share?
Yes, Philip. It has been a significant year, I think, for all of us together, because like I mentioned, we've been scaling significantly. And one of the things that we did not want to lose sight of was we didn't want to scale to an extent where we lose sight of what we are doing as an organization, we lose sight of quality programming, etc. So one of the things that, of course, what we brought together was an entire M&E process that I and Lena in the previous slide spoke to all of you about. But generally, I think the results and the impact currently, what it looks like is what you can see on your screen. We are currently operating out of 117 livelihood centers. And like I mentioned earlier, that these are centers which are in the communities. The youths come to these centers to receive the life and employability skill sessions, and these centers are pan India. Of the 117 livelihood centers that we have, 17 of them are all women, all young women centers. Again, something very, very significant that not many organizations in the ecosystem are doing. These livelihood centers and the colleges that we are currently working in are spread across 17 states and 31 districts. As I speak, we've currently impacted more than 125,000 young people. 61% of them are young women. And 76% of those young people who we've trained are placed in sustainable jobs with an average income of more than 14,000 per month. We have a very, very strong mobilization process. So our teams not only go to the community in and around the center to mobilize young people, but a lot of our alumni also come back to us and say that, Magic Bus has really helped us in significantly changing our lives and helping us generate income, which we bring back to our families. It has really put us in the formal sector job market. We are now an important contributing member to the economy of India. They refer a lot of young people. So more than 40% of our current cohorts of young people are actually alumni who have referred their family members, who've referred their siblings, who've referred their friends, to join the Magic Bus livelihood and skilling program. And therefore, what happens is that the cohort of young people who come to us are those young people who are looking out for work opportunities, but they are also looking out for gaining the critical 21st century life and employability skills, which is a part of lifelong learning, and will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And therefore, our dropout rates are close to 1%. Not many young people between the enrollment and the completion of the 2 months training program drop out. Again, I think as an organization, we have ventured into the space, even though these are significantly smaller numbers and we are still trying to explore more opportunities. We've been able to work with LGBTQIA plus young people, and also about 624 young people with special needs. And we want to grow and expand in this area. We are also trying to learn as an organization, are there any specific needs that they have which we've not been able to address or bring in our program? How do we create an environment which is more inclusion based rather than very, very exclusionary, wherein we say that we will only design and craft special programs for special needs people. So I think inclusion, Philip, is generally something that the livelihood team now and we as a department are really looking at. And we know that the outreach with the LGBTQI, with young people with special needs, would only go up as more we learn from this space. Like I mentioned earlier, we did venture out into the graduate program, which was a felt need, which came across by some of these tier 2, tier 3 colleges, by the vice chancellors, by the principals. Currently, across India, we are collaborating with more than 1,000 colleges for both our undergraduate, graduate, and the digital skilling program. We can move to the next slide. Very, very significant milestone. We started off very humbly as the livelihood vertical. We started off only, I would still say very recently, in the year 2015, we only enrolled 77 young people, were in our program, to where we are currently, increased it to 10,000 in a year, in the year 2018 and 2019. And within a span of 1.5 years, we had doubled that to reach out to 20,000 young people in the year 2020. And this was the year of COVID. And we knew that more and more young people wanted to be gainfully employed. More young people reached out to us to support them with not only the skill sets, but also to help them be gainfully employed, get into sustainable jobs. And I think post that, our outreach for young person and the way the teams have really identified the supply and demand side in a hyper-local environment in the community has been really, really significant. Our outreach increased to 25% between the year 2021 and 2023. And this was when we were able to create customized skilling and livelihood programs, specifically catering to the needs and aspirations of the young people. So a lot of innovations, scale was really brought about in the last 2.5 years of programming. Currently, like I mentioned, we are at 1.2 lakhs, and we know that 60% of these young people who are enrolled in our program are young women, because we want to be able to support these young women to get into sustainable jobs, and who in turn would contribute to the economy of India. Again, very, very significant. I think year on year, we have created a significant pool of employers who believe in our program, and our ability to train and nurture young people in the skill sets that they would want the young people to imbibe, especially when they get into, a job which is not only first time for them, but it is also important for the employers who are taking on young people at an entry-level job role, to be able to get a balanced set of young people who they can really invest in as employers, and then who in turn would also stay back for a longer period of time, because one of the trends that we've really seen across the sector is that a lot of young people get into formal employment. We know that they are first-time job seekers. We know that this is their formal sector employment, but they don't typically retain in those jobs for longer period of time. What then happens is that the cost per youth, which the employer has to bear, because they've trained the young people, they've undertaken an entire interview process, goes up significantly high. And this is something that every time we speak to the employers, this really has been one of their pain points and their pain areas. And they tell us that if they hire, say, from a common pool versus they hiring from Magic Bus cohort of young people who've been trained by us, the latter, which is the Magic Bus young people, do stay on in jobs for a very, very long time. Most of them, we know, have also gone on to become team leaders and managers in their company. And, honestly, this has been a win-win situation for both job seekers, who are our young people, and job providers, who are our employers, wherein we see that the MB Livelihood program continues to act as a cornerstone for getting young people who understand the sector, who understand the employers, and are better retained in jobs. Quickly, if you look at the numbers on your screen, we see that of the total youth enrolled, we've placed 76% young people in jobs. And when we speak to some of the employers, like I mentioned, that they do say that our young people have gained those technical skills, those critical skills like working in a team. They know how to dress up to a job. They are aligned to the vision and mission of the company. They are able to manage stressful situations at work, and therefore the placement and the retention of young people are significantly high compared to a common pool of cohort where these employers would get a job. And so it's really a win-win situation at both sides. And we as an organization are also continuously in the process of speaking to these employers to understand if there is a significant sectorial change, if there is a significant skill set that they want our young people to learn, so that the young people do get adjusted to the work life quickly, and they do feel the responsibility to take on something like this, even if it is their first job. We can go to the next slide. Again, on the placement and average salary side, wherein we see that there is an average 10% growth in the average salaries that have been offered to the young people. Like I mentioned, 14,000 plus is the average salary that we are currently offering to the young people, and we've mapped it to the annual. We've mapped it to the number of young people who are placed in jobs. We can go to the next slide. Leena, you want to take this up?
Yeah, thanks, Sonal. So we have seen the numbers in the previous slides, but we have also seen the trend in employment encouraging, the enrollment encouraging, placement encouraging. But what is it that has helped us place these young people? We have a very strong network of employers, our teams, the center teams, our placement managers, all have contributed to this effort. Having said that, we also include or involve the employers in every stage. So we have something called as, we identify the employers, we identify the demand even before we supply the young people for placement. So we know, the young people know that they are going to be placed in a particular sector with a particular employer, or probably 2 or 3 employers that we introduce them to during the training journey itself. And they get to interact with the employer, understand the requirement, and they are better equipped to then go join the workplace. And then also there is a better retention due to this particular factor there. So having said that, what we look at on the slide is the impact that has been created on the income generation across the years from 2014 to 2015 to now. So what we see, there has been an increasing trend, and you see that it has grown gradually, and as you see, it has grown significantly in the last 2 years, wherein it has impacted the life of almost approximately 3 lakh youth and their families, wherein we say that the cumulative income to the family is around 7,100 crores. So that is the impact that we have been able to create or manage in the last 10 years that we have started our program and have been starting to place young people in jobs in the formal sector.
Great. Thank you, Leena. As I said, that female enrollment and not only their participation in the labor force, but also genuinely ensuring that they are placed and retained in jobs have been very, very significant. We called out this number a couple of times, but I am just so proud about it that I'm going to say this once again, that currently we do have 61% female young women who are enrolled in the program. We ensure that we work very, very closely with the parents and the communities, because we've also realized that some of the communities that we work with, a lot of our young women come from Muslim minority community. They come from marginalized sections of the family. Their parents themselves are in the informal sector. They are daily wage laborers. So they don't significantly understand the need of why should their girl go out and do a job. What is it that income that the girl earns can bring back to their family, and not only her family, can significantly improve the overall lifestyle of the family, which in turn would have an impact on generations to come. So, these are genuine conversations that our field teams have with the parent. We call in for parents meetings, especially where we know that that a lot of these young women could be on the verge of dropout. They could be on the verge of getting married at the age of 16 or 17. Some of them have also gone into early pregnancy. So how do you really impact some of those indicators, which are not indicators that we as an organization directly measure or report into to the outside world, but we know that ensuring that a young woman is placed in a formal sector job would help her defer marriage, would give her the standing in the community and in her household to make important decisions, would improve her negotiation skills in the family, with the community that she is working in. And she would also bring back those knowledge to improve the health systems of the family. So these are some indirect indicators that we know are significantly impacting as we go on a stride as an organization to enroll more and more young women in the labor force. And as I mentioned that, again, on the salary front, and this is something that when Philip, had started working in Magic Bus, we did see a lot of disparity in terms of what an employer would offer a male candidate for the same job role vis-a-vis what it would offer a female candidate, the job role being the same, the working hours being the same, the office address being the same, everything. From where we were to where we are currently, I think we've really been able to negotiate with the employers to create a more gender parity income. And this is not just across the programs that we have, which is the Connect with Work, digital and standard skilling, but we're also seeing this across the sector. Some of the sectors, where young women, for reasons, for our own personal bias, like the ITS sector, or a lot of places where you have to sell products and services. Really, we've seen that the sector really looks down upon women, and they wouldn't want to hire. But I think our continuous conversation with the employers have really brought in that systemic change, wherein we see very, very marginal difference in what a female young person would get compared to what a male young person would get. And we've also seen that tourism and retail continues to be sectors where our women are paid more than what the overall average salary really is. And this has really become a very critical milestone for us, because initially I remember a lot of these young women would also come and tell us that, both male and female graduated from the same livelihood skilling program. I have a similar ability than my male counterpart. Then why is it that I'm getting significantly low payment? And I think those are some of the very critical systemic changes, barriers in terms of changing the whole gender dynamic that we've been able to bring about in the ecosystem, while also working with the employers. We can move on to the next slide. Again, I think over the years, our program implementation until date, Magic Bus overall has impacted more than 1.6 lakhs young women, and cumulatively we know that this has brought in an income of 7,000 crores. But if you only look at women labor force participation, we know that these young women who have been placed in jobs have brought in a cumulative income of more than 3,600 crores to their family, wherein we do say that the incremental increase in the average salary is 8%, which is a great leap to not just building and improving their own lifestyle, but also bringing back a lot of also playing out in the Indian economy ecosystem, wherein we know that they are now contributing members of the economy. They are paying their taxes, and they are significantly making an impact and a change in their life that they are in. I think of the millions of stories that we keep hearing from the young people, I think a lot of our young people, and especially when we go and meet them in the field, or when we go and meet them at their employers, of course, when you look at impact, we would want to report on good numbers. We would want to report on good placements for the young people. But I think what the young people really tell us is, yes, we've got a job opportunity through Magic Bus, but what Magic Bus, the skilling program of Magic Bus has really given us is that it has enabled us to become lifelong learners. It has enabled us with significant skill sets like problem solving, decision making, and everything that we spoke about in this forum. And these are skill sets that we will continue to learn and grow on for the rest of our lives. Even though we are in the same job, even when we switch jobs, even when we look at other career progression pathways, most of our young people join at entry level, like we explained, as data entry operators, as telecallers, but a lot of them really work on some of these skill sets of problem solving, decision making, being able to present yourself confidently and set your goals. And then they've taken those skill sets to do better in their jobs. And a lot of them, who've been retained in jobs have now become team leaders, have now become store managers, wherein they are handling 5 or 6 brands in a workplace like Mark and Spencer's, in a workplace like Westside and Shoppers Stop. So I think what we as an organization really and strongly and firmly believe in are creating individuals, who go on to make their and their significant others' lives better. And of course, then be placed in sustainable jobs and continue to grow in the job market as they gain more and more skill sets. So yeah. This is one video that we have of Microsoft. Like we had said, Microsoft Digital Learning is also one of our key programs.
India is one of the fastest growing economies. India is one of the fastest growing economies today. We'll be amongst the 3 largest economies in a few years' time. We have close to around 300 odd million young people who are getting into our employable ages, and current trends show that a very small fraction have employability skills. The goal with Magic Bus is that we can reach out to millions of young people, impact their lives, pulling them out of poverty, and helping them lead successful lives. We provide them with life skills, we work in community learning centers, and we provide them with digital skills because very, very necessary today.
One of the greatest advantages of using technology in social programming is the ability to build experiences through interactive curriculum and the ability to measure that experience so that we can keep enhancing it. Community training helps foster self-learning. It is accessible across all parts of India. It's a great tool for scaling.
Before community training, हमें काफ़ी challenges आते थे सेशन को डिलीवर करने में. सभी को हमें इक्वली अंडरस्टैंड करवाना है वो कॉन्सेप्ट, वो जो भी मॉड्यूल है या टैब है जो हम एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, तो टाइम टेकिंग प्रोसेस होता था, काफ़ी हमें समय लगता था वो चीज़ डिलीवर करने के लिए. कम्युनिटी ट्रेनिंग एक सेल्फ लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म है, एनी टाइम एनीवेयर कहीं से भी हम एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. और यहाँ पर प्री रिकॉर्डेड वीडियोस होते हैं जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट जब चाहे कभी भी वो देख सकता है. वो अपना चेक कर सकते हैं लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग थ्रू क्विजेस एंड आफ्टर कंप्लीटिंग क्विज उनको एक सर्टिफिकेट मिलता है कि उनका परफॉर्मेंस कैसा रहा।
मैजिक बस में ज्वाइन होने के बाद कम्युनिटी ट्रेनिंग की हेल्प से मैंने बहुत ही सीखा। एमएक्स एक्सेल के बारे में, एमएक्स वर्ड, पावर पॉइंट, इन सब के बारे में मैं बहुत ही अच्छे से सीख गई कि इनको कैसे यूज करते हैं। ये मेरी जॉब लोकेशन पे भी बहुत हेल्प करती हैं।
माँ बाप से बढ़ के बच्चे हुए, आगे बढ़े। सलोनी को लेके सपने तो बहुत है। हमारे घर से पहली लड़की है जो नौकरी करने के लिए निकली है, तो वो नौकरी कर रही है, तो वो खुद तो अपने शौक पूरा कर ही रही है। फिर घर में छोटे छोटे भाई है।
अभी मैं इन्वेस्टिगेशन एग्जीक्यूटिव की पोजीशन पे जॉब कर रही हूँ, बट मेरा सपना है कि मैं आगे जाके टीचर बनूं, जिससे कि आने वाले फ्यूचर स्टूडेंट्स को भी हेल्प मिल सके।
जब यूथ आता है और कहता है कि मुझे जॉब मिल गई है, तो काफ़ी अच्छा फील होता है कि हाँ फाइनली जो मेहनत है और जो हम लोगों ने मिल के जो सीखा, मेहनत का फल मिल गया।
Yeah, you can stop sharing. Yeah. Thank you, Sonal and Lena, sharing the entire journey of Magic Bus from the program to process and the key results and impact, which is we're really happy to share during this week. I think we can open up for the question, and there is a Q&A session, and those who would like to ask questions in Q&A, of course, you can ask. And I don't know whether host will be allow people who can raise their hand, they can interact. That also possible. If host can open up the video and chat of the people, yeah, and audio of the people. Both ways, okay. Any questions you can type in Q&A, or you can ask questions also.
So Philip, I've got one question from PP Sahu. I'm probably going to paste it in the group, and then we can maybe if you would want to touch upon on what we are doing under the micro credit skilling space, and how we are continuously improving on the content while we talk to the employers. Do you want to take this question?
Yeah. Sonal, you are continuing?
No, I'm saying, do you want to talk about the microcredit piece of work that we are doing with the Sector Skill Council?
That Lena, that is what even I was thinking. Yeah. Lena, can you over to Lena? Lena, this is one question I also wanted to ask. One, you can connect it with one thing. When we look at our curriculum and content, what is the credentials of it? How we are linking with the national credit system or national skilling ecosystem? How we are going to look at that? How we are planning it? Can you just brief?
Sure, Philip. So basically also to answer the question that has been asked by in the chat here, which Sonal has pasted, yes, I do agree that there is a need for constant reskilling, upskilling, whatever, additional skills, top-up skills, micro-credentials, all that is definitely required. So what we definitely do at Magic Bus is, you would have heard during the forum that we take feedback from various stakeholders, including the young people and the employers and our internal staff. So they keep giving us feedback on what is relevant, irrelevant. Is there any any additional skills that is required according to the market. We ourselves keep a tab upon what is required in the near future for these young people who will be entering the workplace. To answer, Philip, your question about how are we aligning it to the national or the international framework, or what is the step that we have taken. So the first step that we have taken is we have collaborated with the Management and Entrepreneurship Sector Skill Council. We have a memorandum signed with them wherein we have just submitted our first draft of our QP qualification pack that we have designed for this job role, which has been submitted to the NCV and we are expecting a stakeholder meet, or the next step of it is to expect a stakeholder meet for the approval of the qualifications pack at the first level. Wherein we have defined any young person who will be completing this course, which is aligned to this QP, will get 9 credits. So that is how we have defined it in the QP. We are waiting for the next step, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months, we will have a qualification pack released for a job role, which will be eligible for the young person will be eligible for 9 credits. We are also working towards getting a microcredit for our bootcamp model, or the model, or the life and employability skills model for our graduates, which will be a 1 credit program, since it's a shorter duration program, and it's in the form of a bootcamp model. Yeah, so I think I hope
thank
I've
you.
answered
I
both your
think the question
questions.
coming from the NIRD, Dr. Sahu. Thank you, Sahu. It is really, we want to work with you also on that. Yeah, long time we are meeting. Anyway, yeah, any other question? There is another question, the Q&A. How does one go about measuring ACL skills, especially presented in one of the slides? Does Magic Bus follow a universal definition for these skills, or are the skills contextualized in MBIS contest? Lina, over to you. You can respond to that question.
Yeah, so basically what we do at Magic Bus currently is we are only doing a certification because it's just a 2-month program. It is very difficult to measure a change in someone within 2 months with respect to a life skill. Life skill is a lifelong learning. Especially within 2 months, we ensure that the young person gets the required skill set that is required for them to join a workplace. However, having said that, we have interim assessments, I would say, small short quizzes that are there. We keep testing their knowledge at regular interventions. We keep going back and giving them feedback about where they need to improvise themselves. What is it that they need to do? And finally, for a few of our programs, we have introduced a final certification where we test the knowledge based on what they have learned. So it could be a scenario-based question with multiple choice options from which they have to select and respond to, wherein we can understand what is it that they've gauged and how is it that they've applied their learning to the question that has been asked. With respect to the definitions, yes, we did refer when we were designing a framework. As I mentioned, we have referred to different research reports, we have referred to different curriculums, we have referred to different definitions. We have definitely referred to them, but yes, we have contextualized it to our requirements as well. So that is how we have gone ahead about on defining the different skills.
Sonal, one question to you. We have referred that in between alumni is one of the source for us, and they are the change makers. And what is the plan, and how do we already engaging with them? And what are the key future plans Magic Bus looking for it? That's one question.
So, Philip, we are looking at it in a twofold approach. I think until now, our alumni have played a very, very significant role, wherein I did mention that 40% of our young people who are enrolled in our program are because of the alumni who referred their families, siblings, their friends, etc. And then as an organization, we realized that, what is it that we are giving back to them after they've gone and been placed into jobs. So the technology platform that all of us are now trying to build would have an alumni module wherein what we are trying to do, and it's a lot of blue sky, there is a lot of work that we need to do together as an organization, is to get all our alumni onto that platform. And we have now a significantly large number. Some of them we are in touch with, some of them we've lost contact. We now want to bring them to a common platform and a forum to understand from them what is it that they are doing currently, in their jobs. And these are young people who may have passed out from our program, say in 2014, 2015. And then the next step would be to engage in some of the continuous learning systems with them, wherein we expose them to some content which is more contextual, relevant for the sector and the market that they are in, and also host some critical events and discussion forums for them, which they can either do through a self-learning mode or open up weekend discussion forums or events for them, wherein they can learn about the sector that they are in. They can grow in the sector. These sessions would probably help them to progress further in their career. So there is a lot of work that we are now wanting to do in bringing together this entire cohort of young people who are now employed in jobs, to bring them together to see how Magic Bus can now further help them to move one step up in the ladder in where they are currently in.
Yeah. Another question to Lena. You mentioned that agency and empowerment are the core objective of Magic Bus livelihood program. And can you just briefly explain it, how it linking with the income, because we are talking about incremental income to the family. Describe that, what mean for agency for a young people, what it mean, and how it linking with the money or income which is bringing to family, how it helping them.
Very interesting question, Philip. Thank you for that. When we started designing a framework and when we were looking at what is it that we are doing with the young people, or what is it that the young people are gaining after attending our training program, empowering, yes, definitely yes. We are giving them the skill sets that are required to sustain at a job place, or that are required to at least join a workplace in the beginning, and then obviously continue to sustain in that. In the same job, or maybe move on to a different job, but have a sustainable income that comes to the family. When we further started analyzing our curriculum, when we further started comparing it, or I would say looking at different curriculums, and where self-awareness is a very big component of our curriculum, where we are getting the young people to think about their own strengths, their weaknesses, work upon their weaknesses, continue to work upon their strengths further to strengthen it more, building their self-confidence. How would they be able to stand for themselves when it means joining a workplace? So as we said, a significant number, which is 61% of our young people are female participants or women. It is very important for them to stand their own ground by saying that, or convincing the parents to say that, okay, I'm going to join this workplace, even if it means working in a shift. The importance of getting one's what I can say as the bit that we want to do, or that I want to join a workplace in spite of all odds, standing the ground for myself, being confident about going and achieving it at a workplace, and then finally getting credit even in the family, being heard. So young women are being heard about, their opinions are being heard. They are being asked for different decisions that are being taken, or the family decisions. So the voices are being heard. And they are then encouraged to continue to stay in the job. So the initial few months or the initial few days probably would be difficult for them. But when they start going through these sessions, when they realize the importance of the skill sets, it becomes very, I won't say it is easy, but they know they can speak for themselves, they can stand for themselves, and they can explain the importance of why they need to join a workplace and how it would help them bring additional income to the family, and thus in turn breaking the cycle of poverty.
Sonal, one more question is there to you, especially how do we see the future of skilling, and how do we foresee it, and what kind of preparation we are doing, especially in terms of M&A system and demand from the 21st century, etc. How can you just brief on?
So, Philip, on the future of skilling, I think one of the significant steps that we should look as an organization is to explore and increase the ambit of the sectors that we are working in. We are currently only in service sector related job roles. We've currently made a significant stride to go into technical skilling of AWS, Tally, into the white collar space. A lot of research do tell us that there is a lot of scope and job opportunities available in the space of analyst in the AI segment and some of those sectors which are now booming, which are more tech driven, which are very niche in terms of learning those skill sets. So I think that there is a lot of scope and work to be done around that. As an organization, we should also look at venturing into the green skilling space, and not just the traditional roles of installing a solar panel or doing something with electric, etc., but really trying to understand what does the green skilling space as an organization has to offer us. On the M&E piece, I think it's very, very critical for us to further automate a lot of systems and processes so that there is some amount of standardization, that we have across all the skilling centers or across all the programs. Because as we grow, managing data, managing systems, managing teams and people would become more and more complex. And we want to reduce, not end, but at least significantly reduce the human intervention. And I think one of the first strides that we are taking in is to say that how do you measure the health of a center, which is training and capacity building 1,500, 1,600 young people in a year. What is it that the center manager needs to be equipped with when they look at the performance of the center? Do we have those kind of dashboards readily available for us? Do we have those tools and mechanisms, to measure what impact would look like? So I think for us, a lot of these systems to improve the M&E would need a lot of standardization. Of course, the center variation and the regional variation would obviously be there, but bring in standardization in terms of indicators we want to measure, in terms of systems and processes that we want to put across.
Thank you. There is no more questions. So I think it is the time to wind up. And it was a great time. And I'm really thankful to Lena and Sonal to presenting Magic Bus story and journey in the livelihood vertical and what we are doing for the young people in India, and especially during this gLOCAL evaluation week. I hope that next year we will come with more stories and more evidences, and so we can do it better. And I really thank to everyone, and it is our pleasure to be on board everyone last 2 hours, and hope you have enjoyed and you gained some information. Thanks. Those who would like to meet us even electronically, you can contact us, no problem. We are happy to have this discussion taking forward. And really, it was a wonderful time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.